Guys, would you look at that thing? Woo! These Pop Maxes are no joke. What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the video and welcome to Keeping It Real Fishing. Yep, we're going to be taking a look at the Megabass Pop Max tonight. This is a beautiful popper, as you can see. We're going to be going over the visuals, the aesthetics of it. I'd like to also walk you through the design. Megabass has a habit of putting some unique engineering into their lures, specifically with weight transfer systems, and they do have one employed here, so I'd like to show you what that does and how it translates into the action on the water. And then lastly, I don't think any talk about Megabass would be complete without talking about the value proposition. Megabass lures are not cheap. They're some of the most expensive regular production lures you're ever going to see. Is the look, the fit and finish of this lure, as well as the action of it and some of those engineering things I was just referring to, does that all add up to a lure that's worth $19.99? We'll just call it $20. Well, I'm going to show you what it has. I'm going to go over it, and you can decide for yourself if you think it's worth it. I have one here, and this is coming from a person who really for the longest time, I like the look of Megabass lures. I kind of wanted always to get one, and I hadn't. But I have this guy, and actually, I have this guy. So, you know, while they're not cheap, I found enough going on with this lure, enough in terms of the action and everything else, that convinced me that, at least in this example, in their popper, in this Pop Max, that I was willing to pony up and buy one of these premium lures. And I'll just give you a heads up, I have not been disappointed on the water. It has translated into some great fishing experiences. So let's get into it and take a closer look at the Megabass Pop Max. Okay, visuals, aesthetics. Everybody, you're not going to find a better looking popper than this. And to be more specific, there are few lures that have more that's been put into them to make them look exceedingly realistic. Now, in keeping with my channel name, this whole keeping it real thing is I'm not one to ever advocate that a really beautiful lure or a really good looking lure has anything to do with its ability to catch fish. Right? First and foremost, that's to catch you. That's to catch you in the store and to bring it to the register. But this lure here is I think exceptional. I'm going to bring it in for a close look. Let's see if we can keep that focus. This is called the GG Bass color, and some of the main things that you'll notice are the gills. Alright, it has these flailed out gills, and that extends to the rear, and the fine level of detail, almost like hyper realism. If we can see, even in the gill structure, little dimples and stuff to simulate the skin. The Megabass really hangs their hat on that. That's what they're known for, and they certainly deliver it in this lure. Is a ridiculously detailed and styled lure. You certainly are not going to have a popper in your tackle box that, when viewed from below and when in action, is going to look any more realistic. If you look at the shape, I'm going to switch them up a little bit as I do this. If we look at the shape, it's not just a little cylinder. And what I mean by that is, I have some others here that I'll be rolling in. Here's a Rapala. Most poppers are just kind of, they're like cylinders, almost like little, kind of an ice cream cone shape, but not as conical, not as triangular. Here's a very popular one, right? Been around for decades. This is a Rebel Pop R. Happens to be their big one, the P70. Really popular lure. But, you know, in terms of styling, it's pretty nondescript. It's very basic. And, you know, again, as I was mentioning before, a basic look doesn't have anything to do with its ability to be effective on the water. These have been catching fish for decades. This is a staple lure for any topwater fisherman. However, it's not to say that things can't be improved upon, and it's hard to argue that these here, Megabass has decisively made it as realistic as possible. Check this out. Look at the gills on the bass versus the gills on the pumpkin seed. You notice how red they are? Well, that's not a mistake. That's not someone who is accidentally heavy-handed with the red paint. This is as far as Megabass even goes as to accurately represent a bass versus a little pumpkin seed. Just, you know, a bass's gill structure and everything, how you normally see a lot of red in there. That's where the gills are and the air exchange happens. There's a lot of blood. In a bass, when it flails its gills, and if we pretend this is a little baby bass on the top of the water dying, they're trying to actually show you what that would look like. Right? It's probably easier to just paint them all the same, and Megabass goes the extra step and actually represents the bass as much as it possibly can, down to details like that. Looking at the mouth, we have actually a flesh-toned color right here, and it kind of matches my skin. And this is also true of next time you lip a bass, take a look, or just, you know, check out any picture and Google it, whatever. That is pretty much on par with the inside of the fish's mouth. It's not a bright orange or you know, like this hyper pink color. And again, it's not to say there's anything wrong with that. You might even be able to argue that this is better, a little bit more flashy. But Megabass's thing, again, is to make this look as lifelike as possible. And it kind of stands to reason that if fish have seen this, and they've seen all these offerings time and time again, I don't think you would be hurting yourself at all to throw a lure that from all angles, below, the front, the side, the top, from every angle, it looks actually like the forage fish that the bass would be eating. It looks like a bass. It looks like a pumpkin seed. Alright everybody, so that's kind of the aesthetics of the lure. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's going to be a 10. It's a 10 of 10. So yeah, let's move on now and let's talk about what's going on in the inside and some of the weight transfer system and how that translates to the action on the water. The Pop Max is proficient at 2 actions on the water, and this is one of the things I really like about it. Right off the bat, it's superior to some other poppers, not all. There are other poppers that could do this as well, but it has 2 actions. One is being your normal chug along, you can make it spit. The other one is a walk the dog action. So depending on if you're twitching your line with some slack in it, similar to any walk the dog action, like if you know how to walk the dog with a frog, the same applies here. You want a little bit of slack in the line, you're going to twitch that slack, the lure will go side to side. Right? You'll get that walk the dog action. What Megabass engineers into this lure via the weighting system, though, is something highly unique. And this kind of ties into that thing I was mentioning before, the value proposition. We know it looks super realistic, all right? But you might say, that doesn't really do it for me. Now check this out. You have 2 actions, which right off the bat to me makes it twice as valuable. You could do whatever you want. You know, you can just do a chug, chug, chug. You know, walk, walk, walk. You could divvy them up any way you see fit. But 2 actions in any one given cast makes the lure to me twice as dynamic. I know I've seen times where the fish really are cueing in for whatever reason to that side to side walk the dog action. Other times it's a real abrupt, like a very hard pop, like you're just shoving the lure and you're making it spit a lot of water or really create that big air bubble. And sometimes, you know, a combination of the 2. But the point I'm trying to drive home here, guys, is that, you know, if you're going to get a popper, get one that's not limited to just one action. Say something like the Rebel Pop Bar here is a good example of that. The mouth, you know, has that concave shape, as does the Pop Max, but it just pops. You get good bubbles out of it, good spit, but it's one action. Why not have a lure with 2? What makes the lure be able to have these 2 actions? Well, as you probably have noticed, there's these slits within the mouth here. We have that same concave shape. Well, we have some openings here. We have 1, 2 large ones, 2 small on the bottom. The water can pass through these main gill openings, and also on the side, right there and there, through those secondary gill openings. Now in the packaging, I forgot to show you guys this. By the way, when you buy a lure like this, they give you this high-end packaging. It's kind of part and parcel of an inexpensive lure. It's almost like if you buy an Apple product, like an iPod or something. It's just really nice. It's like a little Plano box. It's really sturdy and everything. Of course, you're not buying the lure for this, but when you see it amongst other lures, it kind of, beyond this thing looking really good, the packaging kind of sets it over the top. You're like, wow, that's a really sweet setup they got there. But getting back to what I was saying, the packaging alludes to what's going on with the water passing through those gills. And even here, it's like they draw all these lines. It's like the fluid dynamics of how the water enters and exits and where it goes and stuff like that. And this is the internal structure. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But tying it all back to what I was originally saying, that walk the dog action is possible because this, when you pop this along, there's not a big pressure bubble created because some of that water is allowed to pass through. Right? It's not stuck here like on, you know, another lure where it's just kind of stuck on front. That lessens the resistance. That allows it to be able to flow. And I don't want to say glide, but move a little bit. And so what ends up happening here is you're able to walk the dog just because you don't have that massive buildup of water. It's able to flow through. Now, here is the kicker. You ready, guys? This is a pretty cool thing. You may or may not buy into the fact of how much it's going to make a difference, but, you know, my perspective with this keeping it real thing is I look for things that are innovative and unique and different. Not different for the sake of being different, right? Anybody can create a lure that's different. That doesn't mean it's going to actually work better. But Megabass has engineered something into this lure, a secondary action into the walking the dog movement that I think you can make an argument might lend itself to getting you some more strikes, and it certainly just makes it more dynamic on the water. So let me explain. When you're walking the dog, this lure is not just going to go like this. The fish aren't just going to see this white bottom or, you know, this yellow bottom. There's nothing wrong with that, but they're going to get more. They're going to see more. There's a weight transfer system built into here. If I shake this lure front to back, it's kind of quiet, right? If I shake it side to side, it's quite loud. So we know that there's a ball, there's some kind of weight that's allowed to move in this direction from side to side. Another thing that they have in here, which you can't see in this, you can actually see some of their models are translucent plastic, and you can see this structure. But in the top half of the lure, there's these ribs that go across it, right? These materials that kind of branch the sides. That makes it top heavy. You have more weight on top, or almost more weight on top than you do on the bottom. But these ribs are in the upper half of the lure. When you take a lure that has some weight on top, with a bead that can go side to side in that top cavity, what ends up happening is this. When you go to walk the dog, as this thing goes, it turns. Because that weight on top makes it tip heavy. Not so tip heavy that it just, you know, falls over and on the side or on the bottom in the water, but it's right on the verge. And when you do that walk the dog action, the thing that sets it over the top is your twitch sends that ball flying to the other side, and that ball is just enough weight to get this thing to roll in the water. Here's what the fish see. We're looking up, we're a bass, and let me grab the yellow one. Same action on both, but I'm just flipping it up. You're twitching it, here's what the bass see. Boom. 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 Like that. To me, that was it. That was the difference maker. You know, I was alluding to the beginning of the video talking about value proposition and, you know, geez, it's a $20 lure. But we have this kind of trifecta of different things. We have extreme lifelike detail unlike any other popper out there. We have two actions that are built into one lure that you could just use however you see fit. The lure is twice as dynamic as a lure that can only pop. And within the walk the dog action, the fish don't just see the bottom, they get that flash of the actual profile, that side profile. And in my mind, I can't see how this wouldn't be advantageous. Bass are going to know what a pumpkin seed look like. And guess what? When a fish, pumpkin seed, baby bass or otherwise, when it's dying, or when it's hurt or injured or in distress, it very well, if you've ever seen them, they kind of move around erratically and haphazardly. And so the idea that it's not just going like side to side, but it's actually kind of falling on its side as it does it, to me, if I can see the connection there, how that might be able to spur some fish that otherwise maybe have seen a traditional popper time and time again, and they're just used to the noise, used to the action, and used to the, you know, just seeing the bottom. The ball's in your court, everybody. I understand it's an expensive lure, but just want to let you guys know what this does, and you know, and what it can perform for you out on the water. So Guys, that's been the Megabass Pop Max. Again, I never thought I'd own a Megabass lure. And for all you guys out there, you know, I know there's some people that $20 is a breaking point. They would never spend $20 on a lure. They don't care what it does. I understand that. That's one group of people. The other side is the enthusiasts. They're on the other wing. And they love stuff like this. They love hard to find tackle, you know, super detailed tackle, JDM stuff like this. I think most of us fall in the middle, right? We see something like this, we're probably like, damn, that is an incredible looking lure. I'd love to have it. But do I really want to spend $20 on one popper? You know, that's the value proposition. This guy here you can get for a little over $5. You can get one of these and 3 backups. What it costs you to get one of these. So I think a lot of people say, you know, they'll kind of crunch the numbers. They'll say, well, is it 3 times better than something like a Pop R? And there's no way of really answering those questions. But I think if you ever want to treat yourself to a really, really nice lure, the Megabass Pop Max might be the one to do it. In their whole lineup of all Megabass lures, I think this is kind of the flag bearer in terms of visuals. You're just going to love looking at it. It's just going to be totally one of your best looking lures. And then when you start using it in the water, it's just awesome to watch it, to see it roll on its side. It's a confidence builder too. Another action we have here, guys, I forgot to mention it. Sorry I'm going so long. But another action is dead sticking it. When you dead stick a lure like this, I don't know. I mean, sure, fish hit it. I'm not suggesting that they don't. They have hit basic poppers for forever. But dead sticking is a time when the fish may nose up to it, right? If they're not exploding on it and you just cast it in the water and let it sit there, right? Sometimes that's what the fish want. One of these 2 lures, to me, has the ability to fool the fish into saying, hey, look, there's a little bass just injured and, you know, not moving on top. Versus, hey, look, there's a snow cone, an orange flavored snow cone. I'm just messing around. But you guys, you get the idea. I forgot to mention that the dead sticking approach. This lure is probably the pinnacle for that. So that's even another action. The normal pop, the walk the dog, the roll on the side, and probably the most deadly dead sticking popper out there because of what they've done in terms of realism here. Okay guys, I just want to show you real quick this compared against a few other topwater lures to give you a size comparison. Okay, Pop Max versus Rebel P70, and that's their large one. Pop Max, I forgot to even mention, Pop Max is 3 1/4 inches and it's 1/2 of an ounce. This guy here is, I believe, 3 inches even and 1/2 ounce. Did I say a half? 1/2 ounce on this guy. The idea here, guys, is just in case you have any of these others, you can not only see, of course, how the size matches up, but you can get a quick glance and just say, geez, you know, I have the head-in pop-in image. Man, that Megabass looks a hell of a lot more real. So there's the head-in pop-in image. That's a very nice lure as well. 3 inches on that guy. Here's that X-Wrap. This is a little bit smaller, 2 3/4 inch, 3/8 of an ounce. Again, guys, the other thing you see secondary to the size is the realism. Here's a new one for me. Actually similar in approach. This one also has a few holes in the lip, though not quite as extensive, but it claims to do something similar. This is a River to Sea Bubble Popper 88. It has a really cool finish. A little bit longer actually, 3 1/2 inches. I believe that one also is around 1/2 ounce, maybe a little bit more. And just for the heck of it, guys, I don't know if any of you have this. This is kind of a rare one. 6 Sense Lures Spit Mass. Big lure. It's a custom paint job by Casey at 6 Sense Lures. Casey, if you happen to see this, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's 4-inch lure, and I forget the weight. It's up there, though. I want to say maybe 7/8 of an ounce, something like that. But anyway, Casey, you did a hell of a job, but I got to give it to Megabass. I mean, this thing just, you know, if I take a quick glance at it in the water, it looks like the real thing. So, alright guys, that's been the Megabass Pop Max. Oh, one other thing, sorry. I wanted to put it up against a Super Spook. You know, for some reason, the Pop Max is, well, let me just mention this. The Pop Max is the biggest in the lineup. There's also a Pop X and a Pop, I think it's a Pop Mini. don't let the max in the name dissuade you. Don't let it think like, oh, that's a big popper. It's really not. You know, here's a spook. This is just a standard size spook, and for some reason, certain lures we associate with they're big and that's okay, and other lures it's like, I don't know, we just have this preconceived idea of how big a lure can be. This is just your normal spook, and look at it. Look at how much bigger it is than that Pop Max. Pop Max is not a big lure, guys. It's just a tick over 3 inches. And as you're going to see in this footage here, I think I caught my smallest bass of the year on it. I mean, it is marginally bigger. I caught a bass that's just marginally bigger than this lure. It's pretty crazy. But of course, being that it is a little bit bigger than some other poppers, it stands to reason you will evoke the larger strikes from time to time. But just wanted to show you guys that comparison there. Alright, let's get this last guy out here and give you guys the close-up. Guys, I'm going to take it to the water now. I try to do my best in demonstrating that rolling action. That's really what I want to show you here, is that walk the dog and the fact that it rolls on its side. I think I got some pretty good clips of that. And also some fish that I got in this lure. So that's it, guys. Megabass Pop Max. I'm totally impressed. I hope you're totally impressed. And is it worth $20? That's the question. I'll let you be the judge. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. There we go. Fish on. Man, what a great strike. What a great strike that was. Clear out of the water for it. That was exciting. I should really put a leader on this. I'm not trying to lose my Megabass here. That's an expensive mistake with these pickerel. Pretty good sized pickerel, guys. You saw him sky out of the water there for that Pop Max. Came crashing out. It's a good sized pick. It's a good 24 inches, if not a little better. Ooh, missed one there. You guys see that from the hat cam angle, guys. I said, ooh, I missed one there. I set the hook, I saw my lure come flying. I didn't even notice the fish that came flying with my lure. I mean, seriously, they are the same size. That is unbelievable. Look at that, that's the Pop Max, right? So that's Megabass's biggest popper. And that fish is 4.5 inches long. I mean, that's funny. Still gotta mind the hooks, even with a little guy. That is hilarious. Pop Max, guys. It'll get you giants. Big fish bait. See you later, buddy. You got heart, I'll give you that. You got a lot of heart. Watch out for that fish in about 6 years. He's gonna be crushing things. Crushing. I find it very easy to fish this Pop Max subtle. You can fish anything subtle, of course. It's just how much action you impart through your rod. But I find it easy on this one. Just picking it up. Walking the dog is effortless. I mean, absolutely effortless. It's just have any slack in the line whatsoever, and it's walking very easily. Pick up that little bit of slack, of course, you can just pop it along. And then the other things I'm noticing is that you can get it to do like an upright, to come like out of the water. That's very easy. And lowering the rod tip, I can keep it actually from breaking the surface of the water at all, so that it's not even spitting above. It's kind of just pushing about a ½ inch, an inch, you know, just underneath the water surface, but not actually throwing water. And yeah, I'm just experimenting. I mean, I'm just messing around. These things are very, very easy to do. So I'm sure as I use it more, it'll just get easier, or maybe I'll even discover some other ways. There goes one right there. I just took it off the surface. Another little guy. But extremely easy to get all the possible actions out of it. There's a little guy. I was just letting it sit there, just letting those ripples go about, and this guy just slurped it off the surface. Little fish. There he is, right there. Fish up. He just took it off the surface like a little slurp.
Hey, do you think that thing hit the water? Is that a fish? Oh.
It's maybe like the last one. There we go. Fish on. There we go. Very nice.
A little better than the last two.
Yeah.